Hello, good morning. Welcome to Harpy Stitch. I'm Amy, and this is my corner of the internet all about cross stitch. Today I am filming my WIP parade. I even wore my cheery Santa hat. This is my favorite winter hat. It doubles as a scarf, and I love it. This will be my WIP parade. My intention was to film this on December 24th and do the editing and add in graphics and stuff. Life had other plans. So, if you are new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I know a lot of people run into people here on Flosstube through WIP parades. So let me do a quick reintroduction. I'm Amy. I live in central Minnesota. I have been actively cross-stitching, avidly cross-stitching for about 26 years. I tried it as a teen, screwed it up, gave up on it. Tried again when I wanted a Christmas tree skirt and I couldn't find any I really liked. So I found a pattern and I made one. Then I ended up giving it away to a cancer auction for a coworker instead of having it under my tree. And I have gradually just been becoming more obsessed over the years until it's pretty much my constant hobby. I do still read books sometimes, but usually I'm doing ear reading. Sorry, foot is itchy. So I have a wide variety of projects. I'm going to give you a little life update. I have two things I got for Christmas that are stitchy related, and I will probably end up taking this off because it's really, really warm, which is why it's my favorite winter hat, and it doubles as a scarf. My husband actually got this when he was working at Suncoast, and it's like 6 feet long, and then I stole it from him. So, welcome. I am going to show you my WIPs, talk about what I did, my stitchy plans. I have a little bit of haul. I had put a poll up on my Instagram and my Flosstube channel about my next orc container for next year, so I'll share the one that won with you. And please feel free to ask me any questions in the comments below. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the YouTubey things. So, first, a life update. Let me explain why I did not film this on Christmas Eve as intended, and I was gonna, throw in pictures up here of where I was, when I started it, what it was gonna look like. But on December 15th, we had to go to the ER for my husband. He had an infection. We were there till midnight on the 15th, and I went to work the next day. They gave him some antibiotics and said, if it gets worse, come back. He actually wanted to go in on Wednesday, but he was putting it off. And he was like, maybe the antibiotics just haven't kicked in yet, yada, yada, yada. So we ended up going back on Friday. We were there at 5:30. He got admitted to the hospital at like 2:30, 3 a.m. So after working all day, I was up till 3 a.m. Then they said, oh, not only are we admitting you, but you're having surgery at 6 a.m. to deal with this infection. So 6 a.m. Saturday morning, the 20th, he had surgery to have some stuff removed to clear out the infection. So I spent all weekend in the hospital. Did not get a ton of stitching. I did get some. I had to have something to do to deal with the anxiety of my husband being in the hospital. We weren't sure when he was going to get out. He did get released from the hospital on Christmas Eve. Then he had had a headache since Monday morning, the 22nd. And we talked about it with the doctors. They kind of dismissed it, which really ticked me off. So we went back to the ER on Christmas Eve. Luckily, it was dead, and we were the only ones there, so we got in right away. We were like, well, could this be a reaction to the antibiotics? Because this started after you changed his antibiotics, because they had him on like 2 antibiotics at the same time. It was a really serious infection, hence them getting him in at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning to have surgery. So we did get home at like 9:30, so we did get to go to our kids for Christmas the next day. But they changed his antibiotics, and surprise, surprise, the headache went away. They were like, well, there's no documentation that this antibiotic combination causes headaches. Well, it did. We called the nurse's line before we went to the ER. It was a week. And then Monday morning on the 22nd, on my way to work, because I couldn't take off another day, I know we have more doctor's appointments coming up, a deer ran in front of my car and clipped the right front side of my car and knocked out the headlight I had just gotten replaced the previous Wednesday, which is one reason he didn't go on Wednesday. I had to get an oil change. And so I was like, well, one of my headlights is out. Could y'all fix it? So they did on the 17th. And then, which is one reason he didn't go on the 17th. And then the 23rd, I had new tires put on because our tires were in bad shape. So it has been a crazy week and a half. So that's my life update. That's why you're not getting a more polished, edited WIP parade this year. I don't edit my normal videos. I just don't have the mental bandwidth with working 2 jobs right now. I'm going to be going back to school, taking 2 college courses. I just don't have the bandwidth for editing, but I was going to do this one a little bit more special. So instead, I put on a Christmas hat, a sweater, which I am boiling in, and put on a little makeup because most of the time I don't have the mental bandwidth or the emotional bandwidth for even makeup half the time. I is tired, as I told my students. They it came up right before the break. Like, what would you do I gave them a prompt of, if you got $20 billion to fix one problem in the world, what would you fix? And they're like, what would you do if you got super rich? I was like, well, would you keep working? I was like, no. And they're like, what? I was like, I have been working in 2 to 3 jobs since I became an adult. I is tired. If I won $1 billion, I would stop working. I would figure out a way to help people, but I would stop working a regular job. And they're like, what? So let's get to the stitching. I did joke that we had reached a relationship milestone by going to the ER twice in a week, and then we went 3 times in 2 weeks. So yeah, it's been nuts. So hopefully we've gotten all the oogie boogie stuff out of the way, and we will have a much more positive 2026. All right, so if you have been here before, you know that this last year I did 50 starts for my 50th year. It was my 50th birthday in 2025. And because I have become an obsessive cross-stitcher, my way to celebrate that was start 50 projects. Not all of them are huge. Some of them are tiny. So that's what I did. And I did get in my 50th start just before the end of the year. So that was great. So here are my stats. I do not have my December stitching stats because I will stitch after this today, and then I will total that up, and then the next Flosstube I will have my December stitch totals and how many stitches I did in the entire year of 2025 for you. I will be stitching after this because it's still 2025. This will go up today, and I know it might not get washed today because people have plans. So I did 50 official starts plus 4 more Shawshank samplers that I got commissioned to do. So I had a total of 54 starts in 2025. I had 21 finishes, and excuse me, the current number of WIPs that I have for you today are 49 WIPs. I'm going to hold off on the plans until we get to that part. I will kind of, oops, sorry, I bumped my mouse, and then I bumped, there we go. What the world just happened? Pause, please. I bumped my mouse, and then I bumped the remote for the ring light, and now the ring light doesn't want to work, so give me a sec. All right. I'm not sure that fixed it, but hopefully it did. The plug had come loose somehow. Not sure how that happened. The cat's nicely sleeping for once instead of coming over to bug, but he might come over to bug, so you might see the kitty. This might take a little while. So if you need something to drink, please grab it or pause me. It's fine. I don't usually get Flosstube itchy nose, but I did that time. Okay, so first we're going to start with my oldest WIP. This is Wisdom by Cherry Gerhardt. The art is by Cherry Gerhardt. Sorry, I'm opening my iPad so I can show you where I was at the beginning of last year. So this is a design by Heaven and Earth Designs. I had them turn it into a stocking for me because my kid is a big Harry Potter fan. This is where I was last year, at the end of the year, before this year. Do realize I have it here. So, oops, I want to give you mock-up. this is what it will look like when it is done. Okay. So, and this is where I got to. This was one of my 25 for 2025 for fandom stitches. So I got quite a bit done. It is 2/1. Let me get in here. You can kind of see. So you can see the beak of the bigger bird coming in. 2/1 is very tight on this fabric. It is 25 count Lugana. I did start this on August 11th, 2021. So way overdue. This is was on my WIP Go board, and I did not quite finish my WIP Go. In fact, that reminds me, I forgot to pull up my WIP Go. Oh well, I will share my WIP Go in January then. This is one of my first WIP Go calls. This is one of my January WIP Go calls for 2025. So I will probably be pulling this out this weekend before my classes start to get that done. I have gotten 14,120 stitches out of 136,612 stitches. I am now at 10.34% on that. There are 86 colors. That is intended for my kid. It's not going to have their name on it, but they are Ravenclaw house and they still enjoy Harry Potter, and it's not an official product, so we're not giving She Who Shall Not Be Named money. And I have no problem with taking, I still love the stories of Harry Potter, yes, I am aware, but I can't throw out a good story because the author is questionable. We would have to throw out the Constitution of the United States. We would have to throw out all of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches. Like, we would have to get rid of all literature if we got rid of all problematic authors. So, I'm not giving She Who Shall Not Be Named any more money, but if I find a cute thing that is not official, I will get it if I feel like it. Because I'm not supporting her in any way by doing that. All right, so that was WIP number 1. WIP number 2. You're getting a twofer for this one because this, all the main stitching is done, but as you can see, there's like, that's a skull. It needs some back stitch, and I just have not brought myself up. So this is the Goth Temp Stitch Sal by Grandma B. Wilding, gothstitch.com. I started the books on January 1st of 2023. So this is all the daily temperatures for St. Cloud, Minnesota, for the year 2023. So this is 28 count. Picture this plush French lilac 2/2. There are 86 colors as the last one, which is funny that they're next to each other. The ferns definitely need some back stitch. The variegated floss, it's hard to tell that they're ferns. I'll zoom in here. Ouch, I just stabbed myself with the needle. So what I did is, you were supposed to pick like the high or the low, and what I did is, for the cold months, the high is the little band and the low is the big band, is the bookshelf, because in the winter you're more worried about the low temp than you are the high temp. And then in the summer months I switched it. So in the summer months, in the warm months, the high temperature is the big part of the book, and the low temperature is the title band, like where you would have the title in old school books. So I still need to back stitch this. This kitty I changed to match our kitty cat Dwimmer. So that's this. Now, the new start, this was my final start for the 50 starts, was the legend for the temperature on this. So I used the extended temperature range, which was done by Stitchy Bitch, because in Minnesota you can have 100 degrees in the summer and -60 in the winter. So I need it. So I just got 2 little colors on it. The thing that's going to take me forever are these letters. This is also on 28 count French lilac by Picture This Plus. I picked this because since it's a Gothic design, this felt like old Victorian wallpaper to me, because there are a few spots where it looks like there's flowers in it. It's hard to see on the solid color, but that's why I picked it. So I count this as kind of 2 WIPs because they're on 2 different fabrics, but they will be put together And I still have some of this. I actually thought that I didn't have this already in the bag. So I went somewhere and I bought more. So now I have a whole new piece of this, plus another one about the size of this. So I'm excited because when I was organizing my stash to get prepared for a de-stash video, I realized I have a whole nother piece of this because I went somewhere to get fabric and I forgot that I had enough to do this part. So now I have enough for some other projects and I'm excited because this is gorgeous. All right, so that is WIP number 2 and number 3. I started the temp. I've taken most everything out of the hoop except for this one. This one, because I don't want to forget which way is up. Although it has numbers, I should be fine. But this I started on December 13th. That was this year. That was my 50th start. I had those 4 Shawshank samplers, but I don't count them because they weren't funsy projects. My 50 starts were just going to be the fun projects. So I'm doing it 2/2. And I'm excited because it's going to be beautiful. All right. This next one, WIP number 4, is the Storybook Halloween by Stitchonomy. This was my first SAL. It was a freebie SAL that she posted. I love Halloween. I started this on July 5th in 2023. It is on Oatmeal Ada 14 count. Very exciting, I know. Before I show it to you, though, let me show you where it was at the beginning of this year before I worked on it at all. I don't usually do this, so my brain is having to try really hard to remember. All right, where is it? Okay. So what I did is I took them off my Amazon photos and I put them on my Google Drive. So that is where it was at the beginning of the year. I actually took this picture in February because this was right when I was starting to use it for prompts. I think it might have a little bit more because I deleted the prompt that had, or the picture that had the password for the fandom challenge. So, but this is where it was at the beginning of the year. I did 310 a 12 for the frame. There are 19 colors and I'm doing it 2/1. You had the option of not doing the half stitches in the background, but I liked that it added a little bit more depth and color. I got over to the bind. It'll say All Hallows Eve here. This was on, it wasn't on my list of 25 for 2025, but I used it for a lot of weekly challenges in fandom, which I am going to approach fandom's challenges different next year. All of my weekly prompts will be met with one of my 26 for 2026, so that I make sure that I get them done, because I didn't quite get all of them done. But, so I got some good progress on that, though. That's the fun of the challenges, right? It gives you a way to motivate yourself to do your work. Or to, not your work, but your different projects. Because sometimes you're like, I don't really want to, picking something is hard when you have a lot of WIPs. So, and yes, I will be drinking during the video because this is probably going to take an hour and a half. We shall see. My sense of time is sometimes wonky. All right. Next is the Overlook Sal by Robin Allen, now a Stitch in Time on Etsy. And this will probably be sideways because if I try to turn it, I don't know if I have my thing turned on. This is from January of this year. This is where it was at the beginning of the year. See, that's what I knew was going to happen. So you'll have to deal with it being sideways. So this is the Overlook Sal. It is the Stanley Hotel with different rooms from mostly the movie rather than the book. So that's where I was at the beginning of the year. I started this on July 5th in 2023. It is on 32 count Belfast Linen Stormy Clouds 2/2. I did have another start on this, but I did it on like 40 count something, and it was too tiny. And when I started to make it, I was like, wait, the Overlook Hotel is too evil to be that small. So then I made it bigger because I was going to do it like 1/1 on like a 40 count or something. So this is where I am now. I expanded out. We got to this room. Here is Danny's tricycle and the famous carpet. This thread here is glow in the dark, which is as it was charted. I don't know why it's glow in the dark because the tricycle isn't creepy. These girls, however, are very creepy. These are the sisters. In the book, they were sisters. In the movie, they were twins. I used a toile for the wound in her chest. I did the skin 1/1. There is pink bows here and in their hair, but until I backstitch, they're going to be really hard to see. And I am doing the expanded version of this that has like on the side, there are topiary mazes on each side. And then Dick Halloran is in here. And there's a couple of options. They have him dead on the inside of the hotel in one. I am doing the one where he stays alive, which is what happened in the book. He did not die. In the movie, he died. And then there was two versions of the front of it where you had a topiary lion on each side of the staircase. One version had them on fire. The other version did not. So I'm going to actually do one on fire and one on not on fire to get both. This thing is huge though. This was from the Kingverse Stitching Group. I believe the pattern is still there. They started a new one also for their Sal that they created, but this is my Overlook Hotel so far. So this is on my 26 for 2026 to try to get some more progress. All right. I did get my 2025 stitches in this for this year, as you might be able to tell. All right, next is Sapita by Maroomy Designs. And let me pull up where I was at the beginning of the year last year. This was from December of last year. This is where I was at with her. Okay, I started her on August 14th, 2023. This is what she will look like when she is all done. I am doing this on 32 count Yellowstone by Bling Designs. If you have not watched Maroomy's Flosstube, you totally should. She has amazing sense of color, and she designs patterns based on her heritage. And Sapita is in honor of all the women fighting for rights. And this is where I am. I'm doing this 1/1 with 4240 from DMC Midsummer Nights. It's a little hard to see. Oh, if I pull it back, you can see the variegation. I am doing the Danish method, so I'm just going across and coming back with the thread. I want the stripy look. I know a lot of people don't like that, but for this piece, because it's supposed to be the night sky, I wanted it kind of that dusky look, like where you have, you know, the different shades of purple as the sun's going down. You know, the sun's peeking out over the mountains. So in her chart, all the stuff that I'm leaving yellow is what she had you stitch. But since I had this gorgeous yellow fabric, I wanted to do the background still in blue. So instead of stitching the charted parts, I'm stitching the background and leaving the charted parts unstitched to get that yellow sunbeam look in the same spot that it would be if I was doing it on like a blue with yellow or white. I did get, this was one of my 25 for 2025. It is also one of my 26 for 2026. So I did get my 2025 stitches in this piece this year. And look at her little face. So there she is. Beautiful. I love it. All right. Letters from Hogwarts by Cunning Crossstitch. This is a stitch your own adventure. So the idea is that he gives you options for each section. There's a Lord of the Rings one, a RuPaul Drag Race one, etc. And I've got to make sure I don't forget to get all of the Lord of the Rings parts before it's ended. I do have some of them. And this one is no longer available because it is related to She Who Shall Not Be Named. He was pressured to pull it off his site. I got it shortly before it was pulled down, so I still have all the files. I got a friend of mine into cross stitch with this piece. I started this on August 24th, 2023. It is on 32 count stone gray Belfast linen, and there are 42 colors. Let me pull up where I was last year. I don't have a finished picture. I have in the past pulled pictures off the internet because for challenges, because you have to have some sort of picture. But everybody's is different, so I know this is not the best picture. But this is where I was at the end of last year, or at the beginning of this year. That picture was from November 18th of last year. So, I finished the top border. If you are in Frogworks, you have seen that some people took this top border and put it on top of their years. Alright, there is my wand. And you rolled for the color of your wand, the shape of your wand, etc. I did do back stitching in the darker yellow here, but I might need to go back and do more black there. And then I got tired of doing the border because the border here is going to look like parchment paper and then have envelopes at the bottom. And I was kind of tired of doing that. So I moved in and started working on the Hufflepuff emblem because I am a Hufflepuff. This was one of my 25 for 2025, and it will be one of my 26 for 2026 for fandom. And I'm also going to be using it for one of my 26 pieces for WIP Warriors, because I joined that. In fact, I got to read. That's one of the things I want to do today is read up on, try to figure out how to stay active. And I know you have to do so many events, but yeah. So. Oh, wait, I'm going to fold this a different way so the needle doesn't poke. Yes, I know, I'm bad. I leave needles in. And I don't have needle minders because I have a cat who would just steal the needles off the needle minders. So I have to put everything in bags regardless. All right. So I still am not sure if I'm going to, for that one, if I'm going to let the dice have a say and pick, or if I'm just going to pick which of the pictures I like best. Because you get to pick, like, what Quidditch and what part, yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to let chance rule it or just pick the one I like best, because either way works, right? All right, next is Halloween Fairy by Nora Corbett. This is my first Nora Corbett. This I got out of a Just Cross Stitch magazine. Where is she? Sorry, I'm looking for the picture of where I was. I know there are two Nora Corbett patterns called Halloween Fairy. This is the one from Just Cross Stitch magazine from many years ago. That is where I was, and yes, her glove is cut off. I am not always the best at taking pictures. Okay, and this is where I am now. I started this on October 3rd of 2023. It is also on 32 count Yellowstone by Needle Bling, 17 colors, and it's 2/2. And I'm glad to see that, well, I still have a hole, like where the spider web is to get the design, but it left kind of a gap in the hole. So I'm wondering if there's anybody got a tip for covering that up. But here she is. So I've mostly finished her. I've got a little bit of her leg left in the bottom of her skirt. I was tired of doing the brown. So I jumped down here and I worked on the green. In fact, this is Croix Fine Braid number 4 in color 009, so the emerald green. The problem is I need it for another project as well, and it's sold out like everywhere. I really need to get her on some stretcher bars so I can start adding in the beads. But I love the pumpkins on this yellow. She's got an owl, it makes it even cooler. And it says trick or treat. So sometimes people call this one the trick or treat fairy so that people aren't confused. But she was on my 25 for 2025, and I finished her 2025 stitches, and she's going to be on my 26 for 2026. I think there are, I might have to double check. I'm not sure there's still 2,000 stitches left in her. Oh, well, I still have, you know what? I still have the giant moon over here and all the beads to add, so yeah, it'll be fine. But there she is. She's looking beautiful. Have you noticed that I like fantasy and Halloween stuff? Just maybe a little bit too much. All right, so next is the Supernatural Sal by the Witchy Stitcher. This is where I was last year, and it's not a full picture because I was just doing a challenge picture. So I had gotten the box for the Changeling in. I started this on October 9th of 2023. I'm doing it on 25 count Country Mocha. My margins are tiny on a couple of spots because I was desperately wanting to get started, and I just used a piece of fabric I had on hand. I started in the center. It is very close margins on the side, as you can see. There are 21 colors charted. However, I made some changes. So instead of doing a black border, I'm doing the 550 Etoile, so that's sparkly. For the unicorn, I used Raven. It's variegated. I used metallic Etoile, silver Etoile, and white Etoile for the moon and stars. And I used Fiesta for the unicorn's mane and tail. I used glow-in-the-dark thread for the skulls. I have not filled in any creatures yet, not because I actually don't like doing borders first. I get nervous about miscounting. But I haven't decided exactly what color range I want to do the different creatures in. So since I haven't decided that, I'm just going around and doing the borders until I figure out, like, what color green do I want to use for the ogre? I will be changing 2 of the designs. Instead of a straight up angel, I'm going to do a weeping angel from Doctor Who. And then instead of the ghost, I'm going to do the hellhound. Somebody charted a hellhound instead. So those are the changes I'm going to make. I swear I just had, oh, there it is. I was making sure I didn't lose my needle. Nobody wants to step on needles. But here, let's give you a close-up of the unicorn. So I changed him up. And I used Raven from Gentle Arts because it has kind of a green, very greeny black feel. And if you've ever been around a black horse in the sun, you will know that the sheen on them makes it kind of look like a dark green. So that's why I went with the Raven. And I haven't done these corners because I'm trying to decide if I want the corners of each box to match each other or to match the creature inside. And then I need to go over here and there's some bats to add. So it will be a very tight margin. And then I also want to do cryptids. And I think with cryptids, I'm going to do the dark green Etoile for the border. Because Halloween, purple, cryptids, aliens, green. I don't know why. But that is what I am working on. For that one, it is going to be in my 26 for 2026 as well. I've got a ton to do. And I finished my 25 for 2025. So for fandom yearly, it was 25 for 2025. That means you pick 25 projects to get 2,025 stitches on. They're doing the same thing this year for 26 projects with 2,026. And I got all, well, at the end of today, I will have all but 2 done, having gotten 2,025 stitches on. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Weeks Dye Works, Fiesta, and Gentle Arts Raven. Those were what I did. Excuse me, let me get another drink. All right, now is Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger was my New Year's New Start on January 2024. So, let me pull up. Where is he? This is where I was at the beginning of the year. I had not gotten very much done. So Cliffhanger, let me go back to Pattern Keeper so you can see what that looks like, is artwork by Amy Stewart. And it looks like this. Hey, no, go back. It looks like this. So it's cliffs that look like books, or books that look like cliffs. I'm not sure which. It is a beautiful design. I started in the middle because traditionally that's where I start. I have gotten 4,750 stitches, including my 2,025. This was one of my WIP goes. I did not get all my WIP goes done. I was short by several months with going back to college. I just didn't get it done. And I'm at 4,750 stitches out of 546,875. I'm at excuse me, 0.87%. This was charted by Haid. I'm doing it on 25 count Witchelt. And there are 200 colors and I'm doing it 2/1. And what slows me down on this one and Wisdom is that I'm doing them on 25 count 2/1. It makes them very tight. I cannot leave ninja stitches because if I do, then I cannot find them because the holes close up or it's too hard to get this stuff in. So I have to kind of go as I want. And honestly, it's kind of confetti hell. So, but I mean, that's a good amount of progress from what I had. It still looks just like a red meaningless blob, but hey, we'll see where it's at when I get 2,000 more stitches in it this year. So this is huge. Yeah, that's like, it's still folded over like 4 times. So this one is a bed sheet. Luckily I have a bar. Did I share? No, wait. Oh yeah. I did not. Oh, I did mean to show you this. So for Wisdom, I was using I had a chart I designed myself. Oh, no, wait, it's not on this one. Never mind. I'm losing my mind. I haven't had enough caffeine today. It's New Year's Eve. I'm going to, later my husband and I are going to watch the 4-hour extended cut of The Hobbit. So that will be fun. And then I'm planning on having a margarita after the last couple of weeks I've had. Yeah. And then I'm going to be more of a grown-up. I want to finish my Scully today and do my final counts for stitching. I'll probably do those in the morning because I will probably stitch later tonight until I get too tipsy. I have to make a phone call about a doctor's appointment today because they won't be open tomorrow, and I've got to start asking for time off for these doctor's appointments that are coming up, and I need to know exactly when they'll be. And then I want to set up my planner for next year. I started setting it up, and then tomorrow I'm going to grade papers because I've been putting that off to try to enjoy as much of my break as possible and to give myself some recovery time of the stress of the last 2 weeks. So yeah, but in the meantime, I'm going to try to do it. I've enjoyed stitching and putting off adulting as long as possible. So this next one is the It's Sal by Robin Allen, who is a Stitch in My Side on Etsy. Let's see, where is the one? Okay, this is where I was the beginning of the year. I just done part of Losers and part of the, I think that's the moon, and then the Beverly's bathroom sink. I meant to do the blood in a toile and I forgot. And then I was like, I'm not redoing it. All right, I started this on January 6th of 2024. It's on 22 count white that I had in my stash. And it's 44 colors and it's 2/1. So I got Losers Club in, which what I did with that is I blended 321 and the red toile because their color tones are different even though they're both 321. And that way it wouldn't look too different if I used a toile or just the regular red. This is the top of a balloon. This is the sun. I did have these guys done, and then I realized I had added an extra row on the bath here. Like I doubled this, so then they were really long and they weren't working. So I had to frog the whole bottom of all 3 of these. And that's why I went over here, because I did not want to deal with restitching that. The mummy and the, yeah, all that yet. So we are big fans of Stephen King in this house. I like the Overlook Sal better. My husband actually likes this one better. There will be, underneath these guys, there will be Bill's Bicycle in backstitch or black work. So, yeah. But there is Losers Club. Excuse me, I gotta get another drink. And this time I'm gonna get a drink of soda because the bubbles will help my scratchy throat. We had a blizzard warning 2 days ago and barely got any snow. It's supposed to snow more today. Christmas Day, it got above freezing. Then it went down to negatives again. The weather's been wacky. Excuse me. Sorry, but the wacky weather has been messing. Let me try it. No. Maybe. My ring light is not helping as much as I want, so I just turned on my stitching lamp to add a little bit more light. All right. We are now up to WIP number 12. Do you need to take a break? Anyway. All right, next is Deadly Aquarium. Sal, I don't have a picture of this. Let's see. I do have a picture of this from last year, but I don't have a picture of the completed thing. I should have printed one out. I did print out several pictures, but I only have so much ink in my printer. So, okay, this is where I got up to... Whoop, I bumped something. This is where I got up to last year. So I only had the first exhibit done and part of exhibit 2 done at the beginning of the year. And I had to frog all of this and move it. I'll show you on the thing. So everybody knows this one. So many people have been doing it. Animal Instincts. So many people. I can't even list all the people in Flosstube doing this. But it is by Lola Crossstitch. I started this on my birthday, 2024. This was my birthday start. It is on 32 count Sequoia by Atomic Ranch, and I'm doing it 2/1. So again, as I said, I don't like to do frames all together because I always mess them up if there's no reference point. But I did get the top most part done in these little seagulls. I got exhibit 2 done this year. Here's the little pufferfish. I love him so much. I got the back stitch done on the moray eel. I did have to, I messed this up. So on this side here, I left out one of these sections of the green. And so this was all short. So I had to frog everything down here and move it down 5 like stitches. And then I've got the other gull mostly done. I got the coral done, exhibit 3. So I've got exhibit 1, 2, and 3 done. And then I was starting on exhibit 4. This was one of my 25 for 2025, and it will be one of my 26 for 2026. I picked this Sequoia. I mean, the color is gorgeous, and it's showing up pretty true. But to me, it looked kind of like a tide pool. So I picked it because it made me think of tide pools, which seemed appropriate for a Deadly Aquarium. I might, when I get this done, I might frame it and put it up in my classroom. I don't teach biology right now, although I would love to go back to teaching it. I really enjoyed teaching it. But with going back to school, I asked if I could have just one subject to prep, and they were kind enough to accommodate. So, there is that. Atomic Ranch Fabrics, gorgeous. I wish I could buy all the fancy fabrics and all the pretty fancy flosses, but I can't. So, and if anybody knows anybody who has Croix braid number 4009 in stock, please let me know. I cannot finish. I'll have enough of it for sure to finish my Halloween fairy, but I have another project that I don't have any for it, and there will probably be a tiny bit left, but it will definitely not be enough for this other project. So I am begging you, if you know where I can find some, please let me know. 123 Stitch is out of it all the time. And Amazon has some Croix, but not the one I need. They only have like blending filaments. It just, I should look on Etsy. I haven't really dug around on Etsy because I don't know who are the good people to get stuff from on Etsy. And I guess I could try eBay. If you know any good people on eBay to buy thread from, please let me know, because my other project needs 2 bobbins. I need 2 of them for the other project that I'm doing it for, that I need it for. So please. Next is Frogwarts. So I started Frogwarts, going to Frogwarts year 5. It was year 6 last year, so this is all of them in one. And I did decide, because of Kevin on Akio WIP, I did decide to do mine all in one. piece. So this was also on my 25 for 2025. The rule in fandom is that because it's all on one fabric, that even though they were released separately, it's considered one piece. So I'm planning on going to Frogwart's year 7, which is the final online retreat. They're planning on a year 8 to go in person, and I'm really hoping I can save up the funds to go in person. But this is what it will look like. So this was, I started this on May 4th of 2024. It is on 36 count stonewashed by Seraphim, and it's 2/2. So when I started this, I started at the top. I did just a little bit on the left of I was going to try to do both left and right, and I totally screwed up this side. So I had to take it out. And so I worked my way down to year 5. So I finished year 5 this year. I did not finish it during the retreat. So I'm going to start with the 2 that I finished. I did not kit this up with all the fancy flosses. The only fancy floss, called for fancy floss, that I'm using is in the diamonds because I wanted some of it. But to just kit up the project with fancy floss was $170. And yeah, I did not, no, couldn't do it. So I did use a toile in the badge here. I used some metallic for the radish earrings. I used some toile for the fireworks to make it sparkle. I did add a tiny little bit of backstitch to give him some toes. When I was doing the ears, I was like, these colors are so weird. They don't look like ears. But then when you got it all together. And then for the mirror, yeah, I used a toile for this part here. The prophecy breaking, I used a toile. I used black and blue toile instead of the called for here in the gateway. And then I hate French knots, and I didn't want to stress, so I put beads instead. Oh, one of my beads isn't laying too straight. That's what happens when you fold it up too much. All right, and then there's the Weasleys on their brooms, the swamp. Okay, and some candy. Ministry of Magic message. And some thread. I did end up couching down. Oh, no, wait, I still need to do that. These straight stitches I should probably couch down so they don't get torn. All right, this was my this bottom one, year 6, was my first retreat finish ever. And as soon as I finished it, I didn't worry about competitions anymore, and I just relaxed and enjoyed myself. All the jewelry, I made a toile on sparkly. I added sparkle to the phoenix. And the hourglass. Somebody took these 2 cabinets and moved them to the outer edges and then scooched all the other designs inward, which I thought was brilliant because they're vanishing cabinets. They should be far apart so you're actually traveling. So, yes, I have 2 of the 5 years finished. Frogwarts is in mid-July. It's hosted by the Black Needle Society, which I didn't say at the beginning. So, my plan for this year is I would like to finish years 1 through 4 before Frogwarts. This is on my 26 for 2026, and it is, I did finish my 2026. As you can see, let's see. I got in the flame. I literally just had the boot and a couple of those at the beginning of the year. I got in the flame, part of the words, part of that carriage this year. That is a toile as well. I got a bunch of the diamonds here. I got the beginning of Aunt's foot here. I only had most of the night bust done and part of this ridiculous done because you needed to. I just had the Weasley's house, this done before this year, and now I've got part of the Whomping Willow, part of Aragog. I got Hermione, and I made her fuzzy. I was thinking it was a different color. I should have used a lighter color, but I used some Whisper thread for her cat fur. And then I used a toile for the Gryffindor sword. So I got a lot done there. And then I really just had, at the beginning of the year, Hedwig and the base, and then these so that I could get down. But I finished the sorting hat this year. I finished the snitch, which is in a toile. I put a toile in Harry's glasses lenses. I put a toile for our blending filament for the lightning bolt. And then I got most of the Nimbus 2000. I did put 12 for the Nimbus. I picked a lighter yellow, but I don't think it shows up as well as I would like. But that's okay. So my goal is, I think I'm going to start working on year 1. I'm closest to a finish on that one. These footprints were done by Nautalota Stitches, who I got to meet in person and go to Welcome Stitchery with in the summer before last. So I have had the toughest time. They've been giving me a hell of a time. I know the top one's right, but when I got down here, it got all jacked up. So I've had to frog the feet like 3 times, which is one reason I didn't have more of these done in time for year 5 to get started so I could finish during it. When I do Frogworks this year, I'm not competing. I just want to go and hang out and relax and have a good time. I don't want to worry about team or points. I will do enough of the events so that I can get a chance at door prizes, but I really just want to hang out and relax with some other stitchers. So that was number 13. And then, as I said, I really would like to go to the in-person retreat if I can swing the finances. All right, so from this point on, there will not be any more where I was last year pictures, because this is the beginning of my starts for 2025. So let me pull this up. And I don't need that anymore. I'm going to pull this up on my... So my New Year New Start this year was Dragon of the Sabbat by art by Ann Stokes. It was charted by Paine Free Crafts. It's not there anymore. It's now on Haid. I played the 310 Stitcher Jade for this. She told me about it right before it retired from Paine Free Crafts, and I got it. If you want to see other people's progress on it, Alara is doing it. Also, Darren the Dizzy Stitcher. Jade did all the black first. And is now on the blue dragon at the top, filling it in. Her goal was to finish up this year. I have not checked in. She was so close. So I'm going to guess that she did get to finish it. This is on 28 count even weave. Color creation is blue by Fabric Flair. There are 90 colors in this, and I'm doing it 1/1. So, make sure I have it right set up. All right. This is a big old piece, even though it's 28 count. So I decided I wanted to ditch the background. So my pattern keeper tells me I'm 46% of the way because I'm not doing the black. So I wanted to put it where it looked like they were in space. Because the Sabbats are, you know, holidays based on position of things in space. So, or times of year, and it has to do with star locations and all that stuff. I gotta fold it back up so I can hold it so you can see it. So, but I wanted you to see the fabric. So, I love the fabric. I started in the center, because since I was not doing the black and it's round, it's too much of a, to try to count, and it's big counts, and I wouldn't want to mess it up. And I tried gridding once, and it took me so long to grid that it's like, screw this. This takes too long. I just want to stitch. So that's one reason I tended to stick to starting in the center, because then you don't have to count to find your starting place. You just fold in the middle. All right, I gotta fold this up. I cannot hold it right. Okay, so I did get to my 2000. This was one of my 25 for 2025, and I did get to my 2025 stitches. Let me actually look. I did not, on the other ones that I have in Pattern Keeper, I looked up the total number of stitches that I have in it. Well, that doesn't, I didn't do this one because I don't have, because of all the black, it's not accurate. But I did reach my 2025 stitches in here. Again, a lot of confetti. So I'm started in the center. This is 939. I wasn't going to take that out because everything looks like it lights up. Yeah, and I thought about not doing the 939, but I thought that would make it too hard to count. So I've gotten most of the central pentagram or pentacle started. So most of that done. I was working on it. I did finish this up over the break. My stitches that I needed. So there it is. It's going to be a while, I think, before I get to a dragon, but that's okay. This is also on my list of 26 for 2026. And I'm working on, it's on my WIP Go board. I'm planning on working on it with WIP Warriors as one of my 26 projects because I'm doing 26 for 2026. Luckily, I don't have to have them all picked. All right, so I really wish I wasn't wearing a sweater. My house, I fluctuate with perimenopause, menopause, whatever you want to call it. It stinks that some of those things can last 10 years, and it doesn't help that I drink too much soda and caffeine, and that can aggravate the hot, flashy feels. But I've been so stressed out, I needed it for brain power. Okay, so WIP 15 is in bulk by Kick Stitches. I got a set of 8 of these. I am making them for my son-in-law, and this is what it will look like when it is done. I already did the Yule for him. I am going to do them all in the same fabric. I started this on January 27th, 2025. I'm doing it on 25 count or 28 count casual linen. Let me turn it right side up. Okay. I am doing it 1/1, which it's got half stitches, but to get the size I wanted, because the idea is he'll hang them over his altar for his rituals, and they needed to be relatively small. So I picked the fabric based on the size that he would prefer, and I'm going to do them all in this very smoky white because I want them to look really natural. And there's 22 colors in this one. So here is the center. As a kid, I would have called that a God's Eye because we made him at camp. This is some wheat, and this is the start of a sheep. And then down here is some flowers and the start of a flower. This is part of a flower. So it will look much better once I get the back stitch in. I did get to 2025 stitches on this year. I think it's going to be on my 26 for 2026 to try to get some more on this. Because I have to be so careful because I have to puncture the fabric when I do the half stitches. I have to take my time, and plus it's really tiny. So when I do work on this, it's slow going. It will be beautiful when it's done, but I just have to be very careful when I'm piercing the fabric to make sure I don't actually tear anything. So I have to take my time when I do that one. All right, here are some of my little teeny tiny starts that I did this year. This was in a gift bag from our trip to Welcome Stitchery from one of the other people. It is just a little cat embroidery piece from Kickerland. And it's just gonna go in a little hoop that came with it. I might end up giving it to somebody, but I wanted a little start to help me with my 50 starts, so I got this little kitty cat. The pattern is just colored squares. It's a pain in the butt to read. Give me symbols, don't just color, and especially when you're using several different grays and the grays are almost exactly the same, don't do squares of just the color. It makes it really hard to read. I started that on the 28th, January 28th. It's on 14 count. There are 9 colors. All right, Christmas bauble cards. I've had these in my collection for a while. I actually found the ribbon and I thought it was a mistake. I was like, where did this ribbon come from? And I threw it out, but I have other ribbons, so it's fine. So they're on these little, they're like soft plastic. And there's 2 of them, and you turn them into cards, and then the people can use them as, so this is where I am on the red one. I haven't started the blue one yet, but they don't line up very well on the circle. So I'm having to like fudge a little bit the spacing and add stitches in some place, leave off other stitches because the way the round thing works. But they will be cute when they are done, and then I will give them to somebody probably. So you get, it was a kit from, is it just Cross Stitch or, no, this is World of Cross Stitching. Oh no, Cross Stitch Crazy, which isn't even made anymore. And it came with the cards. Here, I'll pull one out. So they came with the card. And you just hang it in there, and then there's envelopes. That one I'm not as excited about, can you tell? I love the idea, but then I realized it was a pain in the butt. Here is another kit I started. This is a design by Fiona Baker. It came from the World of Cross Stitching. It is called Cutie Hedgehog. That is what it will look like right there. And I started this on February 8th of this year. It's on 14 count Ada. There's 8 colors. And there's where he's at. I should just finish this little guy up. I have quite a few of these that I should just finish up. But today, this week, I need to work on, I need to start another Shawshank so I don't have to panic stitch one. Like I did 4 in the fall this year, and I had to like do them like this back to back. And I didn't enjoy it. I had to give up all my stitching time for fun. And this was while I was trying to go to school. I was working 2 jobs and trying to take a class and trying to get those done. Made it really hard to grade, made it really hard to do my homework. So yeah, I am going to try to get it where I do a little bit on it every day or every week. And if I do 2 letters a week or something, I should probably do, yeah. But I want some time where I get to stitch, and I will have 2 classes starting on January 12th. So I've got to like get as much fun stitching in as I can before that starts. All right, number 19. I started this on March 15th this year. This is Old World Map by Haid. It is, somebody said it's from the Antique Arts Collective. Erin, the hiking stitcher, is doing this as well. She is much farther along than I am. But it is like a public domain art piece, so they didn't have to get permission to use it. I think it hangs up in a museum somewhere, the real one. So it is there. Now, this is the one I was thinking of earlier. So when I was first getting back into cross stitch, I wanted to do a stained glass piece, and I tried to make my own pattern, but I pulled it off a picture off the internet, and it was like an ad, and it was a badly done picture. So this is the fabric. I had this fabric on hand, and it was the right size, or you know, it was bigger than this, and I cut it down. And I'm going to have to go when I get there and frog all of this. And I've started frogging it a little bit, but I'm doing it in tiny pieces. So instead of throwing out this piece of fabric that was going to be this huge project, I repurposed the fabric because it was way too big of a piece to just throw out. So I have reached 1.27%. I have done 2,143 stitches out of 169,200. It's 25 count Lugano 1/1, 90 colors. And I decided with the tininess of these stitches, and I'm doing it 1/1, that I was going to start in the top left, because I do my top X, my top stitch of my X ends at the top left. And what I found is if I try to go up towards the left, that it ends up pulling weird and messes up the smoothness of the stitches sometimes. So you can't put that in your mouth and talk at the same time, Amy. So just move it to a new spot. So I've got the top corner. Here is part of the tree. You're beginning to see the first little cherub angel in there. And I'm trying not to leave ninja stitches or confetti stitches hiding in there. yeah, because it's so tiny, I have to be careful about pulling it through the waft and weave. I do have to take my time on this one a little bit, but I decided after doing Wisdom and Cliffhanger 2/1 on 25, I like a good thick coverage because I want it to feel like a painting, but at the same time it was such a frustrating thing to work through. So there's a little bit of gap, but once you pull it back, you can't see that. So the stress of getting it through 2/1 on there, it's not worth the extra coverage for me anymore, but I'm not changing it. People are like, well, you can't tell. I'm like, I will be able to tell. So those 2 projects, I'm going to finish 2/1. Everything else, I'm going to just, when it's that high, I'm just going to do 1/1. You live and you learn. So last year, I finished Dead Outlaw Female by Night Spirit Studio. This year, I am doing the companion piece, Dead Outlaw. I started this on March 25th, 2025. Okay, that is what it will look like. I am doing this on 14 count pecan by Fabric Flair. I ordered a bunch of this, and I still have some I can use for another project. That's always good, right? There's 6 colors, and I'm doing it 2/1. So I am going to make some changes to this, just like I did with the female version. He's less sparkly because he doesn't have a show outfit, like, because she was based on Annie Oakley. So Annie Oakley was in like the Wild Bill's Wild West show, and so I put metallic thread in her dress and everything like that. I will make the bell at the top a toile. So I did do a toile for his little bullets. I did do a toile for the metal in his gun. I've gotten quite a bit done. This was part of my 25 for 2025. Definitely got my 2,000 stitches in. He will also be in my 26 for 2026. So, at the bottom, I will change the date. The Dead Outlaw Female, I put the year we got married. I'm going to change the date at the bottom from 1876 to the year we started dating. And then they will face each other. Because cowboys. Yes, but the pecan to me looked like desert sand, dust bunny, or not dust bunnies, tumbleweed from like old westerns. So I thought it was perfect. And I actually have another project that I actively have working on it now too. All right, Cutesy Friends Sal is number 21 by Creatively Crafting, and I realized I might have missed some of the downloads for this. So yeah, I did email them, and I might have to try again because, well, it's the holidays. I'll wait till after. So I'm doing this. I started this on April 4th of this year, or April 2nd, excuse me. I'm doing this on 32 count fabric that I ice dyed. I picked this fabric because it screamed 80s to me, and I grew up watching the Care Bears. I do enjoy Friends as well. There are 10 colors, and I'm doing it 2/2. So we've got our Care Bear here. I've got most of Friends done. I was missing some of the colors for the little squares in between, so I just skipped it. This is going to be on my 26 for 2026. I planned out on my 25s ahead of time, and I didn't have this on there, so. But it will be on my 26 for 2026 this year. If I can get. Well, I think I changed my mind. No, I'm not putting this on my 26 for 2026 because I'm not sure I'll be able to get the rest of the pattern. I have like 6 parts, and I can't remember how many parts it was supposed to be in. So, I already have the next bear printed out. But I thought that they went perfect, and I was a little concerned, but since everything's backstitched, they pop just fine. So cute. And I'm planning on experimenting more with dyeing this summer. I might even try selling fabric instead of patterns. All right, next, as a child of the 80s, I was so excited to get this, and there's a couple other from World of Cross Stitching, and they had several issues that had Smurfs. because Smurfs were not originally American. Originally they were in like Sweden or Switzerland or something, and they were actually not blue there. They were a different color, but this is where I am on Papa Smurf. Papa Smurf is wise. So when I finish that, I will wait until I find the right person to give it to as a card. If I want to do one to keep, I'll probably do one of the bigger ones in the magazine. All right, let's see. Papa Smurf card. I started that on April 18th. 14 count, 8 of 4 colors, 2/1. I like the bigger projects, can you tell? I get much more excited about those than I do the little kits. Occasionally one of the kits will really get me excited, but not often. Those are ones I tend to do to give away to people when I need a card or, you know, something like that. So I've got now where I want to keep my stuff mostly. All right, number 30, or not 32, 23 is Evening in the Shower by Maria Brovko. Cute Patterns by Maria. I started this on April 19th this year. It was supposed to be my birthday start, but I got too excited to start, so I started a day early. I did this for Damn the Man Sal to protest unfair authority figures. And to me, the hobbits are very much a good example of little guys standing up to the big evil. And so I thought it was appropriate to do Evening in the Shire. So this is just the black and white printout. It is a lot of backstitch, a lot of black work kind of stuff, half stitches, etc. This is on my 25. This was part of my 25 for 2025. This is one I did not finish. I have like 634 stitches left to get in for the year, and I am not going to stress about it. I am just not going to worry about it. I only missed 2 projects this year that I didn't get done. Or I will have only missed 2. What was my other one that I didn't get? Oh, give me a sec and I will look, because I have it still written down. I was saving. I will finish one more. In Bulk was the one I didn't get my 20. I still have 1,239 stitches to go because it is very slow going. It'll be that one and Evening in the Shire that I don't get my full 2,000 stitches on this year, and that's okay. This one there's a lot of counting. You have to be super careful because cross stitch and the half stitches are only in certain areas. And so sometimes you're having to count just there's not a good counting place. So you got to be very careful with your placement. All right, so this is on 28 count Malachite by Fiber on a Whim. There's 6 colors and I'm doing it 2/1. So let's back up here and then zoom in. I did not iron, but I did take everything out of the hoop except for the one project. So it's amazing how much she gets out of this with just 6 colors. I chose this Malachite because to me, you know, sometimes when the sun's setting and the lights are kind of dim, if you've ever been like in the woods, you'll notice that there's like certain green tinge to everything when there's low light in the moonlight. So that's why I picked this. I already had to redo this round door once because I got off a little bit. I was able to count down to get to this light, and I'm going to work off that. So I still have a good ways to go on this. I thought about scanning it and putting a header keeper, but there's so much backstitch on this it would have been pointless. So I'm just using the paper pattern. I just printed it out, and there's one pattern with the cross stitch and half stitches and one pattern with the backstitch. But there it is. Jen down there, I think Wolf Down the Rabbit Hole is also working on this. So I can't remember who I saw it on. It might have been Jen's that I saw it on, and I was like, I just have to do it. But I went with this green because it also made me think of nature in the woods, which is what I think of when I think of hobbits. All right, next is WIP 24. I did get my 2,025 stitches on this. I am going to have it as one of my 26 for 2026. It is my first ever Mirabilia Emerald Mermaid. I inherited this from my dad's mom when she passed, and this is what she will look like. I don't know if the dye lots have changed or if this is just a really crappy picture or both. So I started this on May 1st. It is on 32 count Juniper by Fabrics by Stephanie. There's 28 colors and I'm doing it 2/2. And I'm going to leave the fabric kind of folded over so that it, oop. Yep. So here she is, my Emerald Mermaid. I started in the center here with the flowers. I did work on this while my husband was in the hospital. I had to take breaks though because it was really hard to see. But one of my Christmas presents helped me because I got it early. I was like, there's this at work. Can I just get it and say it's from you for Christmas? And he's like, yeah. I am doing the skin 1/1, which is where a lot of my 2000 stitches came in. And then I got into her tail. This is the project that I need the 2 things of Croix 009 for. There's a lot of it. A lot of these, like, then I got the bug. I had to work on the flash here because I decided I wanted to undo her hair. I was like, I feel like doing her hair. I need to put this on a scroll rod as well so I can just add the beads as I go. This and Halloween Fairy I want to get on the scroll rods that somebody donated to me. But I have to like sew them on and I haven't felt like doing that. So, and then I started on her tail. I wasn't sure about some of the colors. There is, where is it? There, right here, there's some colors of, there we go, that really kind of blend into the fabric, and that's okay, because fishies are supposed to blend in to their environment. But there is my first Mirabilia. I am looking forward to getting her done. I do have a couple other pieces I inherited from my grandma that I actually want to do. I have a bunch of books I got from her that I will be doing in a destash video, which I will be doing before I go back to school. I meant to do it over the break, but life happened. All right, now my next one is my 25th WIP for you. It's Old Scully by La Petite Croix de Lucie. I did this for the Halfway to Halloween sale hosted by Jason X Stitch, or I started it. I was going to do it anyway. This is what it will look like. I started it on May 2nd because I actually did Mania this week or this year. And I thought that was a great way to get my 50 starts in, get a good head start before it was towards the end of the school year. I was like, oh, I can start all these and then I'll have them started and then I don't have to worry about when I get really busy in the fall not having gotten enough of them started. So good thing that it happened because I ended up going back to college. So I'm doing this on 40 count Haunted by Seraphim. It's 34 colors and I'm doing it 1/2 except blends. So I'm doing this on a smaller count than suggested. So this is why it was meant to be 2 strands, but 40 count that doesn't work. But for the blends I have to still do it. So this is the project that after I do this I will finish up. I have like under 100 stitches left to get to my 2025. I was going to make this my 26 on my 26, but there are not 2,000 stitches left in this guy. So I love how he looks like he's glowing. And I started getting the purples in. I am going to finish up. I did, what was my other one? Fortune Teller. And they are done by different designers, but their vibe is similar, so I put them both. And I still have some of this. I can still put some other fabric, other projects on it. So I'm going to frame them to go together because they kind of have a similar vibe, even though they're different designers. But love him so much. Look at him. Look at him. I need to work on 2 things before the break is done. And all I really want to do is finish him. So I might keep him out because I have 2 things. I need to start a Shawshank, as I said earlier. And so that's on my list of things to do. I'm just going to do a couple letters and then I'll work on it a little bit at a time. But I have something else I need to work on too, since I'm under a time limit, sort of. All right, next, 26 is Treasure Map by Jenny Barton. This is from World of Cross Stitching. Yep. I will open this up so you can see. That is what it will look like. I like pirates. I like treasure. and I thought this was fun, and I needed another start, and this is on my list. So I started this on May 6th. This is also on 14 count pecan fabric flare. This was not on my 25 for 25, but it will be on my 26 for 2026. And I have a little bit of the island done and a little bit of the swamp creature. Wait, other way. Helps if it's right side up. It goes this way. So I thought that the pecan also kind of looked like old beat up paper. So that is going to be another project. It's fun. It's only 20 colors. It's 2/1. Some of the counting will be hard because there's a lot of no stitch spaces, which is why I was going slow on that one. All right, next, Turtles All the Way Down by Ink Circles. I thought my round robin piece was going to be my first Ink Circles, but I forgot. This is also Ink Circles. This I am doing for my husband. He's a huge Terry Pratchett fan for Discworld. Turtles All the Way Down is a common saying in Discworld. So this is what it looks like. And I started this on May 7th. I'm doing it on 32 count Miracle Mint by Silkweaver. This is the first time I've ever used Silkweaver fabric. It is so soft. Makes it hard to keep it tight, but I love working with it because it doesn't hurt my hands. You know, it's not scratchy. I got this when we went to Welcome Stitchery. The banding that the pattern called for is no longer made, or nobody carries it. I got 6 turtles done. This will be one of my 26 for 2026. I did check, and there's 6 more turtles, and so it should be enough. This is the center, so I've got to work my way down. But isn't that beautiful? I will make it into some sort of bell pull. I really wish I could find a bell pull top that had like turtles or ocean thing, but I haven't found one yet. If you know where I can find one, please let me know. All right. 28, A Witch's Welcome by Annie Craft of Dirty Annie's. I had bought a piece that was Dirty Annie's that's like a Mardi Gras funeral parade kind of thing. And I thought that would be my first Dirty Annie's. But then I realized that this was Dirty Annie's. And this was from Just Cross Stitch. Here is what it will look like. I started this on May 9th. I did get my 2025 stitches. This will also be in my 26 for 2026. And here's where I'm at. It is on 40 count Antique Lace by Seraphim. I got most of the sign done. I got these candelabras in. And it is 10 colors, and I'm doing it 1/2 on 40 count. So pretty. As you can see, I'm kind of all over the place with the things I picked to stitch. I mean, other than the fact that there's Halloween. Number 29 is Matilda. This came from World of Cross Stitching. It's a rolled doll design. I put this on my 25 for 2025. I can't remember if I put it on my 26 for 2026. Is that a smudge? Oh, yeah, it's a little pen mark, but that's all right. I can wash this. All right, here is where she's at. She did get 2025 stitches. It is her sitting on books, and it will say her name at the bottom. I did not pull out the magazine, but that is my 29th WIP. There she is. I'm not sure why she has gray hair, though. I know it's probably just to fit the vibe of how Roald Dahl draws in his books. All right. I put that over there because there is another WIP on the other side, and I'm going to show them in order that I started for the most part, except for the Temp Legend. Next is my 30th WIP for you. It's 100 Owls by Forest Embroidery. This is a free design on their website if you are interested. Their charts are made a little differently than what I am used to. So let's see if I can get my light to go back. There we go. All right. So, I've kind of had to be really careful because the way they do their charts are different than what I'm used to. So making sure I matched everything up right. I usually am a center starter, but the centerpiece on this one it doesn't have any of the next pieces where you can see where they're at. So I'm having to work a little bit differently. I started this on May 12th. I'm doing it on 32 count water lily linen. I also got this at Welcome Stitchery in Blue Earth, Minnesota. It is a 3-hour drive to get there. So earlier in the year, I only had this little owl done and then these two little dudes. And now I get those done. And it does tell you what all these different kinds of owls are. But there we are. I worked on this at Christmas, and my son-in-law was like, the light in their house is pretty dim. And he was like, those look like bats. But it was just these guys. And then this one was like, this one I was working on. But there it is. This guy is a little hard to see. I thought he was B52, but this is B52, so maybe he just got dingy. But I can wash this because it's DMC. So that is where I'm at with 100 owls. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 owls finished out of 100. So only 91 to go. But it will be beautiful. I am trying to decide what I'm going to do with it when I'm done. I thought about giving it to my kid, but I already have plenty of... I already made her an owl bag, so I don't know if she will want that. All right. Number 31 is Elmer. It is a kit to make a little card or a little miniature picture. I am not familiar with Elmer. I believe he is a British kids TV show or book character. That is what I have done on Elmer so far. It's really cute though. The characters that I remember from British stuff, my aunt, when we were really little, would bring us the Mrs. Miss books and Mr. Men books, the little round people that had different personalities, and they, and I have an alphabet of them, and I might do that just because for nostalgia's sake for me. I started Elmer on May 13th. It's on 14 count, 10 colors, 2/1. And then there's this card bauble kit. It's a folk art bauble. To me, it looks Scandinavian. It's by Carol McKinnon. I started this on May 13th. It is on the kit 14 count Ada. There's 7 colors, and I'm doing it 2/1. Some of these colors are really close. Sometimes I get frustrated with these little kits because some of the colors are so close. But that's where I'm at. It wouldn't take long to finish these. So what I might do is, we have what's called Tiger Time at my day job. And what I might do is throw one of these, like take these little kits, and like when we have those and I'm just wanting to be crafty, I'll just take those out and work on them at work and finish them up there. Might do. All right, go away. Okay, next is, I think somebody gave me this. It wasn't for I can't remember if it was for my grandma or somebody else. Not really my style, but I was looking for my 50 starts. And this is Butterfly Fairies from Anchor by Stephen O'Connell. I started this May 19th. It is on 14 count cream Ada. There are 4 colors. It's all tent stitch, and it's 2/1. And I might try to get this to be my, one of my 26 for 2026. I'm trying to figure out which way it goes. Oh, this way. That's why I put the needle that way. And it is incredibly hard to see anything on here without the back stitch. So that's where I'm at. When I was 20, I would have loved this, but I really wish it was more dynamic in color. But I think it will look cute once it's done. But yeah. Okay, number 34, Black Work Octopus. So If you have not been here before, my husband and I love nautical things. We love sea monsters. We have a Kraken shower curtain. We have Kraken shower rings. We have a wooden shark in our bathroom. We definitely are going the sea route with the bathroom, just not the traditional silly shells. So, in World of Cross Stitch, Fiona Baker had done a couple of blackwork sea animals, and she's coming out with the seahorse, which annoys the crap out of me, because now I'm going to have to do that one too. But the first one I started was the Blackwork Octopus. I started this on the 17th of May of this year. It's on 14 count navy Aida, 2 colors, and I'm doing it 2/1 or 1 or 2/1, depending on what it calls for to get the different dynamics. This is a little tricky to make sure you're counting right. I have to go really slow on these. To make sure that I'm getting the right number of little things in there. But my idea is to get round frames for this and then make it look either like a porthole window or a ship's steering wheel. And then hang them all together as a set. And now I'm going to have to go do the seahorse. I had a hard time. My husband and I both like octopi, sea turtles, and sharks a lot, so trying to figure out which one to start. And I really wish I had started with the shark, because the pattern on the shark is easier to figure out, like count right, if that makes sense. So, I don't have any plans to put them in my 26 for 2026, although they would be good ones, but the blacks work takes so much longer. I'm more worried about it meeting challenges. But anyway. And on... How did I get these all out of order? Anyway, because I forgot to write them down in my journal until after. Next is BFG by Fiona Baker. It is on the same bag as Matilda, and I've got 2,025 stitches in it. And I started this on May 11th, and it is a 32 count cotton bag, 13 colors, and I'm doing it 2/2. So I've got this one. I've got little Fiona, that's the little girl's name. And then on the other side is the Matilda. So when this is done, I will turn it inside out. I'll put some interfacing in it. And I will have a rolled doll bag. So these are probably going to... I don't know if these will be in my 26 for 2026 yet. I can change them out as long as I haven't used them for a prompt. So. Oop. And here. This has got part of the Matilda, but you can't... There's what the BFG will look like. Okay. How y'all doing? Did y'all have a good holiday? I hope you had a good holiday. My husband and I are planning a quiet night in for New Year's Eve. I may, after I do a few of my requirement things, hop on to the WIP Warriors Zoom call, because I haven't gotten to do that yet, before the husband gets up. But first I have to clean up my Flosstube mess. Because my whole couch is covered with all the bags that everything was in. Okay. This should be... No, wait, I've got one more. I was going to say, this should be the last little tiny project that I got, kit. So this is Smell the Roses. And again, a lot of these little kits are not my style, so I don't have as much enthusiasm. Sorry about the crinkle. But they are great for gifts, like if you want to send a thank you card at work or something like that. So I tend to make them to do those little things. So there's where I'm at on the rose. And I said, these would be perfect to take, and they're 14 count. I don't need a magnifier. I don't need fancy light. I should get a little kit. Actually, I have exactly the thing I need. All right, 37. We're getting there. This is actually, I'm not going to show you the printed out one because it's all beat up, and I can show it to you on, this is What Lies Beneath, Charting Creations. Artwork is by Dakota Detweiler. I told you I like sea monsters. And I started this on, where is it? 5/20 this year. I'm doing it on 32 count linen, and I'm doing it 1/1, and it is got 108 colors. This was part of my 2025 for 2025, my 25 for 20, and this will be part of my 26 for 2026. So if I get in here close, so these little white dots are filled in. Those are like stars. But it has been a lot of blue. I'm starting to get down into the clouded down here, the swirly clouds. So I'm getting some variation now. But again, because I'm doing it 1/1, I have to worry about the threads getting pulled under and everything. So even though I'm doing this on 32 count, it's a pretty big piece of fabric. Let's see, what do I have? I didn't write down my stats for this, so I will go look those up on Pattern Keeper real quick. I did reach my 2,000 stitches goal for that. So what is my percentage for that? So I've got 2,298 stitches out of 578,000 stitches, and I'm at 0.4%. So not even 0.5%. Hence one of the reasons it's on my thing. And what I might do, I think I'm going to pause real quick and after I show you my WIPs and go grab my WIP Go boards for this year or next year. So very short amount of time. Can't remember. I know I saw somebody stitching this. Oh no, it was a different one that was a similar theme. All right, Woodland Friends. This is my last little kit. And this one is my least favorite because all the little tans are so close together, it's almost impossible to tell them apart. So here are my 3 little dudes, and they are so adorable. I didn't even cut the fabric apart because it was already done in 3s. So I just was working through as I could figure out what color was which. I was just working through it and working on those. So they don't look like much yet. Again, these would be a perfect thing to like take to work on, like when I just need 5 minutes of downtime at work to keep my sanity sane. Or what's left of my sanity sane. Okay. 39. So, my kid, we had a friend who was moving to Canada many years ago when our kid was little, and she couldn't take her pet with her because you have to they have to be quarantined for months and you have to pay for the quarantine and the doctor inspections. She couldn't afford it. So she rehomed the cat with us. And that cat became our kid's cat. She didn't want anything to do with anybody else. She didn't like, I mean, she would get pets from us, but she didn't like the dog. So we had to divide the house because she'd had a traumatic experience with a dog and she wouldn't trust our dog. He would never have hurt her. But she passed away a couple of years ago. And then we had to put our dog down last October. And Haunted Frames had come out with these designs. So I decided to do these as memorial pieces for our pets. Because both of them we had had the dog longer than the cat, but not much longer. And these were our kids' childhood pets. So I decided I would do these as a memorial piece. Ooh, excuse me. As a memorial piece to these 2 pets. I have not decided if I'm putting their names on them yet. But this is Kitty Came Back. I started this on May 22nd. It is 25 count hand-dyed fabric by me. And this was one of the ones I ice dyed. And then on this one, I've just got the paws. I was missing some of the colors and I couldn't go further. So there's 15 colors and I'm doing it 2/1. I have these in a bag together because they're kind of, in my brain, they go together. So that's our zombie kitty paw coming out of the grave. And then on the puppy came back, I started this the next day on 5/23. I had all the colors. It's the same. I just cut the fat piece of fabric that I dyed in half. And so you can see the idea here. It's hard to see the bone, but that'll be filled in. The great tombstone will be filled in. So we got the ghost of the puppy, and then we've got a zombie paw coming up out of the dirt. And both of them will have, the cat one will be very similar. So that is my memorial piece. We do have the dog's ashes and footprints from when we had to put him to sleep. And she has the cat's footprints. So, yeah. sorry, it still gets to me sometimes. All right. But those are going to be memorial pieces and gifts to the kid for those 2 pets. I haven't figured out how to fully finish them yet. But now, next Blackworks animal. This is the Sea Turtle. Yep, that's the right way. By Fiona Baker. It is also on 14 count Ada navy, 1 color, and then it's 1 or 2 over 1 depending on the part of the pattern. And I started this on May 24th. And I do love a sea turtle. So, and then the very next day on the 25th, I started the shark. Yep, that's the right way. And again, it's 1 color and then either 1 or 2 over 1 depending on the part of the pattern. This is why I said I should have started with this one. This one's easy to count. So, those are my triptych. Probably going to be a 4th one soon. I am having rules for starts this year because I have so many. I have 49 WIPs. I only have time and room for so much. So. All right. This one I've been wanting to start for forever. Cinematic Stitches is doing it. Cam the Stitcher is doing it. So many people are doing this pattern. And it is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. I know there are a ton more people doing this. And I did seriously debate about whether I wanted to do them separately or all together in a big piece. I ultimately did all together in a big piece. Oh yeah, and 310 Stitcher started this year too. Excuse me. So there's this one. It's so pretty. It's funny, I don't really want to do any of the other Hawk Run Hollows. But I love this one. Wonder why. Alright, Carriage House Sampling. I started this on May 26th. This is on 40 count Inca by Fox and Rabbit. My first piece of Fox and Rabbit. We went to Black Cat Stitchery or Needle Bling Stitchery because they bought it in Wisconsin. Because that is closer than Welcome Stitchery in Minnesota. It's only a 2-hour drive to the Wisconsin store instead of a 3-hour drive. Okay, so this was on my 25 for 2025. I got 2,025 stitches in it at least. I am doing it from the paper pattern, so I don't have any stats. But look at how beautiful that is. And I think I got it pretty far considering I started 40 things. Look at this. Ooh, you can actually see. Look at how buttery yellow that is, and then like just a little bit of pink. Oh, so gorgeous. So gorgeous. This fabric, I'm in love with it. But this will take up pretty much the whole thing. If I have any left, I'll trim it. But okay, number 44 is Nightmare Before Halloween by Maroomy Designs. This is what it will look like. I'm a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan. This is like a bell pull thingamajig. It says it's a kit, but it was just a pattern. Which is one reason I'm beginning to think Maroomy Designs uses AI a lot. I started this on May 28th. It is on 32 count off-white even weave. There are 50 colors. And because I was starting so many things in May, that's all I got done. Plus, I think I was missing some colors. So that's where I'm at with that one. It is on my 26 for 2026, so I can make some progress this year. All right, 45th. I started this on July 4th. Lila Studios, I actually won the fabric from Floss Boss and Cousins. It is on 40 count. Picture This Plus Murky. It's 10 colors, and I'm doing it 1/2. So this is on my 26 for 2026. And this was stitched by one of the Floss Boss and Cousins. I had to frog quite a bit of what they'd already put in because there were some mistakes. So, but that is from them. And then I got in that little purple The flowers are a little hard to see, but they look really cool. I redid the hat, started up here. But yeah, I'm excited. I love this fabric too. It is so gorgeous. Like, look at that. I am going to be doing, I did do some substitutions from the called fors. I got some colors in one of the Frogwarts boxes that I'm going to use to replace some of the colors here. Like this green is like from a Frogwarts box instead of the frog legs or whatever it was. So I will go into more detail when I actually work on it again. But look at this. And if you don't know what it looks like, I mean, there are so many people working on this. It's not even funny. I wish I could remember who. But that is what it looks like when it's all done. All right, we're getting close to the end. Thank you for sticking with me. So that was Halloween Quaker, Lila Studios. Next is a sal I joined from Unconventional Egg Steaks. This was a free sal. I don't think it's all the way out yet. They just include the files in their newsletter each month. It is an octopus sal. I think I might need to change my name. All right. That is what it's supposed to look like when we are done with it. I got a very tiny start. This will be in my 26 for 2026. I started this on August 8th. This is another piece that I hand dyed myself. This was not ice dyed. So a lot of my pieces that I did ice dyed with a friend over the couple of summers ago. This one I had a piece of fabric that was a very, very, very light blue. You can see kind of like here. It was light blue so much it was almost white. So I was like, I want something for this octopus that looks like water. So I got some of the RIT dye and I scrunched this up and I dyed it with, I deliberately wanted to look like splotchy, kind of like when you're looking in water, like if, you know, when they do the cameras under the water and you see the different color blues and the, yeah. So that's what this is I wanted to mimic like the water, what the water might look like around the octopus. So that is what I did. And it is a very bright thing, and that's okay. And I will work on this year and hopefully get some good progress. Okay. Now, my only Christmas piece. Project number 47, Joan Elliott. This is Reindeer Roundup. This was a book I got from my grandma. And I really kind of like this. Now, all these white spots are beads. And I've made a working copy. I have several of these books that'll be in my de-stash or my stash unload video, whatever you want to call it. All right, I got to throw that over there so it doesn't knock the pile down. I started this on August 13th as part of my 50 starts. This fabric that I have is actually a piece that I won from Fabric Flair in an Instagram contest. I got this and another piece, and the other piece was kind of a gray mottled. And I actually gave that to DNA Geek Crafts because the idea was that you were supposed to do one for yourself and one for a friend. But this Navy with Snow by Fabric Flair, I thought it would look perfect with the reindeer and Santa Claus, and it's the right count, it's the right size. Yeah. So I was very excited. It worked out perfectly. I kept this one because I wanted to do at least one Christmas piece, and I didn't really have any fabric that I thought would be great for Christmas. So I kept this to do the Christmas piece. I went through all my Christmas books that I got from my grandma to see, okay, which of these projects what project would I have for either of these projects or fabrics? And then I decided. All right, so there's 23 colors and it's 2/1, and this is one of the reindeer. So there's that. Look at him. He doesn't look like much yet, does he? All right, two more. Actually, one more. Nope, two more. All right, so one of the things that I started this year was Ink Circles Element Dragons Water. I'm going to pull it out of the bag so you can actually see. However, I don't have this with me because this was for the Stitching Connection Round Robin Jason X Stitch is hosting. So, I don't have that to show you because it's at somebody else's house. Megan is from our group is stitching on it right now. However, in place of that, I do have Cindy's piece that was sent to me. So this is, she chose Blue Morpho by Ink Circles. And so that is what one of the things I need to work on today, or this weekend before I start back at school, is my section of Blue Morpho. So this is what she sent me. And the only part I've added is right in here. So I haven't added much yet. We're like we're like about a 3-month turnaround, but with school starting up, I want to get this. And I think this will be a really quick stitch for me. And then she sent multiple blues that we can do the butterflies in. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do all the green and then decide what color I want to do my butterfly in. Because she sent like 6 different blues. And then I'll put my initials. And that will be that. Okay. Now, final thing is not actually cross stitch. It is embroidery. I got this book for myself a couple of years ago for Christmas because I love Nightmare Before Christmas. And I kept thinking about starting it. I was nervous. So I didn't do it. So with this book came 2 pieces, enough projects to do 2 pieces from here, or enough materials. So this one and this one. There's materials for both of these. I think. Yeah. It's those 2. So they give you the thread and the fabric and for those 2. And it comes with the oh my gosh, my brain. Let me double check, make sure I've got that right. Oops. Which are the 2? Those are the stitches. Ah. Oh yeah, the Pumpkin King and this one. I was right. So, I did not take this out of the hoop because it'll screw everything up. So I put the fabric on my window and traced it. I did miss one of the little hearts that was supposed to be of their heads. And I'm not using this for any challenges because I don't want to try to count straight up embroidery. I can do it by time, but yeah, since I can't count the stitches, I'm not counting it for the embroidery. But so I got it traced on there, and I got the Sally's outline, and I'm working on Jack's. So there is my final WIP for you. Oh, it is almost 2 hours already. All right, so fandom yearly. I'm going to focus on my yearly goals there and throw in the weeks when I can, or double dip. Last year I was just any project that would fit, and it was fun, and I like fitting projects that I have to the categories, but I think I'm going to focus on getting all of my yearlies done using the weeklies because you can double dip. WIP Go. I'm going to work on that, which I'll show you my WIP Go board for this year and next year. WIP Warriors, I'm going to do 26 for 2026, which means for their things, I can only use those 26 projects. Countdown to Frogwarts was a hashtag they started. I'm going to try to catch up, sort of. And then I need to finish at least 2 projects for a new start. Let me grab my WIP Go boards real quick. One moment. All right, so this was 2025's WIP Go. I'm low tech in this respect. So you can see there was quite a few I didn't get done, and that's okay. It still helped me get some progress. I actually have like one day left on on wisdom for one of these. I was gonna try to finish up my yearlies, and I will be too short for doing that. But with the hospital and everything, that didn't happen. So I'm not stressing. This is just a way to idea. I didn't even assign like rewards if I finish this stuff, right? It was just a way to help me work on the projects, especially Cliffhanger and Wisdom. And that's one reason I got so much done on them this year. So I'm going to do WIP Go. It is going to be more flexible. So this is my WIP Go board. For January, it's going to be Wisdom and Old World Map. So those two I will put in my little bin that I keep next to me with Old Scully. Weekly challenges for fandom doesn't start until Monday. So my goal is to try to maybe work on these this weekend. When I say 2 days, I just mean that's what I'm stitching on that day. It doesn't necessarily mean how many hours or whatever. Because I know with my schedule and everything, sometimes I get an hour to stitch. Sometimes I get 8 hours to stitch. Just depends on what's going on, how much grading I have to do. So if I do hours or whatever, it puts too much pressure. But if I say days, that just means I have to touch it 2 days in that month, right? So the idea is that. And then I will at least have to have 2 finishes before I can do a new start. But I might do it so that I have to get a bingo on my WIP Go before I can do a new start. I do have a few things I would like to start, which it sounds insane to me because I just started 50 projects. But I kitted up, mostly kitted up Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Glendon Place. I have the fabric for it. It's on my list. I've been wanting to do it for years. Again, thanks to Kevin at Akio Web. Things like that. There's stuff that I would like to do always, because your eyes are bigger than your stomach and your eyes are bigger than your hands, and time for cross stitching. So that's up, but I do know I need to WIP down. I need to finish some stuff before I start a whole bunch. So at least 2 finishes and probably a bingo. Excuse me. Plus, I don't want to buy anything, especially if I'm trying to go to the in-person Frogwarts. Cutting off my spending would be good. So that I can save up to go to Frogwarts in person. Because I would end up taking my husband and he would hang out in the hotel. Stuff like that. So, yeah. I want to finish. I got to work on the round robin. I need to start my Shawshank. So, that's kind of my plans. And again, plans are made up. Points don't really matter. All that stuff. I'm almost as bad as the fickle stitches with changing my plans. Mostly because I get overloaded with stuff sometimes. But I've stuck pretty well to WIP Go and the fandom stitching. I was also in magical stitches, but I couldn't manage both with my work schedule and everything. And I found the weekly stuff more motivating in fandom than the magical stitches. And fandom has changed the way they're doing their reading challenges this year. So it's a year-long reading challenge with prompts, and you just find a book that fits the prompts and you can do them in any order, which is great because the monthly reading prompts and the weekly watch prompts was too much. But now we're doing monthly watch prompts with musicals, and I probably won't watch all of them, but there's some that, like for this month, that my husband really likes, so we'll be watching those. And it only works out to 3 movies a week, which we do pretty much anyway. The trickiest part will be the ones he doesn't want to watch me trying to fit them in, but that's okay. He's like, I can always play my game and you can put the musical on and I don't have to pay attention. I'm like, okay, which is what we did with a lot of Doctor Who, because at a certain point we kind of got burnt out. I love Doctor Who, but being like, I want to binge it, like not just watch 4 episodes a week and then have to wait. Like, I just want to binge if I'm going to binge. So I like that adaptation. I'm going to try to set up my Wanderlust passport, which is like a stitches for countries travel thing, but it's no pressure, no schedule. You just do it as you can. And then WIP Warriors, I joined that, and I got to make sure I understand how that works so I don't get kicked out. I'm hoping if you've been doing WIP Warriors and you have any suggestions on what is the best challenges to focus on so you get your threads that you need to stay in it for the month, that is the least stress, please let me know. That would be awesome. All right, now my 2 pieces of... So at Michael's, they have these neck bendy lights. And you can do it like that, and you can vent it, and then I'm not going to press the start button, but these lights have like 3 brightness settings. So this is what I was wearing, like when I was visiting my husband at the hospital. He wanted the lights off, and this just gives me a really directed light. And so I used that while he was in the hospital and stitched in his hospital room while he mostly had the lights off because he was having headaches. And then for myself, I've been wanting this for a while. I got one for my sister-in-law. Essential Embroidery Stitches card deck. So it's got, directions on how to do a whole bunch of embroidery stitches. So I thought that would come in handy. I'm trying to expand. All right, here is my Ort jar for the last 2 years. You can kind of see a record of my projects. So this is from 2023 to 2025, or 24 to 25, because the last one was 23. And then, so I had a blue one and a pink one, and everybody voted. Well, it wasn't a ton of people, but y'all voted for the pink one. So starting tomorrow, my orts will go in here. And I will put stickers for the dates that this one contains. So it'd be like 1/24 to 12/25. But I still have some orts to put in here from whatever I stitched today. That is all I have for you. I hope you had a decent 2025. I hope you had a great holiday. I hope you have fun today and are safe. And I hope you have a great 2026. And if you had not such a great 2025, I hope 2026 is better. I shall leave you to ponder. Please let me know what you were working on. While you watched my super long video, if you made it to the end, I'm going to copy Stitch by Liz here. Why don't you leave me some fireworks since it's New Year's Eve, or a 2026 emoji, or a Happy New Year emoji, something. And like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTubey things. I hope to see you again. I hope you enjoyed my projects. Let me know if you're stitching on any of the same projects, or if you'd like more details of where to get them. Any questions, please feel free to leave them below. So long, and thanks for all the stitch. Bye.